This week might be the best opportunity to buy CS2 skins in years. So in this video, I'm revealing the top 7 investments I'm making right now to maximize returns. We're covering skins, knives, stickers, agents, the Armory, cases, and my thoughts on timing the dip and how to avoid trade reversals. Firstly, let's start with operation skins. Now, some people have said that certain items like operation skins shouldn't be affected by this update. And from a technical standpoint, that's true. There's been no changes to their drop mechanics or how they're acquired, except for the new trade-up formula, which I'll discuss in a moment. The main reason these prices dropped, alongside everything else, is due to a loss in confidence in Valve. This update was a reality check for many people, and a reminder that this market is at the whim of their decision making. I won't mention this again, however this lack of confidence and potential drop in demand as a certain number of players decide to exit the market is relevant for everything I'm discussing in this video. As always, only spend money you are 100% happy and able to lose. That said, if you still believe in the long-term growth of CS2 like I do, operation skins are a strong play as their rarity hasn't changed. Before we continue, this video's sponsor, SkinSwap, is giving you a skin worth up to $50 entirely for free whenever you do your first trade and use my referral code. If you want to refresh your loadout, you can trade your skins for brand new ones in just a couple of seconds. Plus, if you want to purchase cheap skins directly, they accept deposits via crypto, MasterCard, and Visa. And since every item is already past the 7-day trade hold, you'll receive your skins instantly. If you need to cash out, SkinSwap makes that simple too, with instant sell options to PayPal or crypto. On top of that, they run free daily, weekly, and monthly giveaways, with the chance to earn extra tickets simply by trading. Use my link or referral code for a 3% lifetime sales bonus and a free skin worth up to $50. Big thanks to SkinSwap for supporting the channel. Right now, I've been finding consumer grade skins from collection like the Norse. For example, the famous Nightboar is sitting around $10.50, down from $18 pre-update. I think the Norse, St. Mark, Control, Chop Shop, and Rising Sun collections are all great pickups. They're liquid, have popular high tier items, and the new trade-up formula actually means more low tier skins will be consumed in trade-ups going forward. Previously, if you wanted to trade up to a restricted item from the Norse collection, you could use 1 Norse mil-spec and 9 fillers for a 25% chance to hit Norse. Now, that same setup only gives you a 10% chance, since the new formula bases odds solely on the number of input items per collection, not their potential outputs. If you want a full breakdown of the new odds and float mechanics, I've linked a detailed video in the description you can check out after this one. Depending on how prices move in the coming days and weeks, you might also consider buying high tier operation skins directly, like the M4A1S Blue Phosphor, Hot Rods, Wild Lotus, or Gunya, which have dropped by 50% or more, making them fantastic longer term entries if you have the budget. For those of you who want to get in on the gold action directly, my top picks would be based on these supply numbers collected by Roadrunner. Since it's more difficult to get low floats, first gen gloves in good conditions, including low float field tested, min wear, or even factory new, are likely good shouts. I picked up a set of field tested 0.18 Arids for $918, after several cancelled sales for 0.15 pairs. I also picked up 0.26 Specialist Emerald Web gloves for $1,300. When trying to find good deals, I like to compare the current prices of available listings to their pre-update price to find which have essentially the biggest discount. So in this case, $1,300 over about $3,800 is 34%. Of course, this doesn't factor in float, so you can be even more precise by looking at the sales history. I don't expect prices to jump back up to 100% of their all-time highs, but this means I can essentially double my money even if it recovers to just 70% of the pre-update price. I also attempted to purchase a Karambit and M9 Gamma Doppler for several reasons. Firstly, I think the most popular knife collections that are not in an active duty case are the Chroma and Gamma knives. Out of the two, there are less Gamma skins since there's only 2 cases compared to 3 Chromas. Plus, given the significantly higher price point of the M4A1 Mecha Industries and AK Neon Revolution, there are essentially only 2 covert skins that people will use to trade up. However, like many people, I've had trades cancelled and reversed, which seems to now be a huge issue. So if you're able to find sellers on float that have a large number of sales and quick delivery time, it's more likely to go through than a brand new account who probably doesn't care if his account gets banned. On the other hand, if you use sites like Skinport or SkinSwap, there's no chance of trade reversals as the site trades the items to you directly. So use the safe links in the description if you want to avoid the hassle of dealing with dubious sellers altogether. Next, I want to talk about cases. There's a lot of concern about the future of cases, but let me tell you why I still think they're a great choice. Previously, to make really any money back from cases, you needed to pull a gold to boost that ROI. Now that cheaper golds will account for less of the return, and the skins, which is what you get 99.9% of the time, will actually cost more, the ROI should improve. Plus, statistically, you'll be able to get twice as many golds. If you open 400 cases, the approximate number to open a gold on average, you would get roughly 320 blues, 64 purples, 13 pinks, 2 reds, and 1 gold, which after trading everything up to coverts, essentially nets you a second knife or glove on top of the one unboxed. Therefore, I think this change actually encourages people to open cases. Plus, now that reds have already shot up to $50 plus each, it will cost a minimum of about $250 to do any knife trade-ups. Of course, you are guaranteed a knife, but there's not a lot of people who have the budget to spam knife trade-ups, so the possibility of getting a butterfly emerald or karambit ruby for $2.50 will remain attractive. The cheapest factory new covert for the glove case is over $350 already, and I expect this to keep going up as people realize there aren't nearly as many new OG gloves being crafted as everyone may have first thought. Plus, the new trade-up formula actually makes it extremely hard to get a set of factory new gloves. Of course, it would have been nice to buy in at $7.30 on the dip, but we're still sitting at just $12 on Steam, down from $17 for the glove case. Based on the data I showed earlier, I think it's worth buying into collections that have lower skin supply and expensive cases, which means less new skins and knives will come into existence. Therefore, I'd still be staying away from active duty cases, except perhaps the recoil with its extremely low entry point and being the most likely to get discontinued next. However, cases like Chroma, Gamma, and Spectrum are looking quite attractive right now, as they all contain extremely popular knives. Interestingly, the Dreams and Nightmares case, after crashing alongside everything else, has actually rebounded to even higher than it was pre-update, and I'm not entirely sure why. If you have an idea, leave it in the comments below. The other fear people have regarding cases is that Valve is going to remove them, alongside any other gambling mechanics to appease regulations. Guys, let's think about this for a minute. Besides Steam fees, Valve makes essentially all of their money from gambling. Operation stars in the past, major sticker capsules, of course keys, and even the Armory, which they only introduced a year ago, where the majority of redemptions offer a randomized reward. The new Genesis terminal didn't include golds. This was deliberate. It's not like this recent update was thought of overnight. All of the changes are a planned series of events. The trade protection update to send more players to the Steam market, decreasing knife prices to send more sellers to the Steam market, and Genesis terminals to ensure customers from heavily regulated countries can still give Valve money while the rest of the world is addicted to cases. Of course, things can change at any time, but I don't think gambling mechanics as a whole will be removed from CS for quite some time. And Valve are certainly incentivized to keep it in the game as long as possible. Next, let's talk about case skins. Obviously, with the fact that you can now trade up to golds, the value of the skins themselves should increase substantially. I haven't yet had the time to analyze in depth which rarity or exteriors have the greatest potential. You might think factory new coverts and classifieds are the way to go, except for some collections, you don't even need to use factory new inputs to get float cap knives. So maybe there's more room for growth for the cheaper battle scarred or field tested variants. On the flip side, if you're going for the glove case, low float skins are likely to reap greater returns as players attempt to go for those factory new gloves. I've begun by picking up mil specs and restricted skins from the aforementioned cases, and they have not yet seen the price spike that the classified and coverts already have, although given these are also the most likely to be unboxed, it might be worth doing some of your own research to find the best return potential. Lots of people are also asking me when I believe the biggest dip will be. Personally, I think it was around the 25th or 26th, just a few days after the update while everyone was still trying to insta-sell and there'd been no sign of a rebound. The 30th will obviously bring a whole new wave of supply, but I think that people are overestimating how many new golds, and especially how many good new golds will hit the market. Plus, there's a ton of people with big wallets, and a whole new number of players that will make purchases for the first time, ready to eat those deals up. When everybody is telling me that there will be a dip and they will buy on that day, something tells me the dip won't be as big as expected. The big investors, collectors, whales, whatever you want to call them, were not the people mass selling in this update. If anything, they were buying in, and you can bet they're ready to stock up. Don't overthink the timing. perfectly timing the dip is impossible. If you're buying at 50 to 70% off the pre-market prices on popular items unlikely to see 2 to 3x supply increases, then it's already a good deal. One of the categories that I haven't personally bought into yet, but I'm quite curious about, is cheap agents. Certainly one of the aspects many people in the community are praising about this update is the fact that knives are more accessible to lower budgets. This in theory means there will be lots of new players entering the market for the first time, who are more price conscious, and I think one of the things besides knives, gloves and rifle skins that players are interested in is agents. Agent prices have also dropped substantially with the update, despite no increase in supply, so this could be a great opportunity to buy in. This one I would say is slightly more risky, as many believe Valve will add agents to the Armory in a future update, but I think it's a play to consider. Finally, one of my biggest investments in recent months was into the discontinued Armory collections, including the graphic design, character craft stickers, and gallery cases. As of recording this video on the 28th of October, all of these are down at least 30%. This update hasn't made any change to stickers, so I don't see why these won't rebound in the future. Plus, if what I mentioned previously about a surge of new players spending money is true, cheap stickers for cool crafts might actually perform quite well. After the last month of Armory skins going absolutely insane, their prices have dipped massively, so if you were planning to get in on Sport and Field fillers for that M4 fade, or even elemental craft stickers in hopes they get discontinued in the future, now might be a great time. If you want more details on my Armory investments, you can check out this dedicated video next. Let me know what you're buying in the comments below, and take care of yourselves.